The one person an avoidant bonds with forever. Most people think avoidants are incapable of real love. They see the emotional distance, the walls, the silence, and assume there's nothing deeper behind it. But the truth is far more complicated. An avoidant may pull away from many people, they may refuse to commit, and they may appear cold. But when they finally bond with someone at the core of their being, that bond is unlike anything else. They may only ever allow one person to reach that depth, and when it happens, it stays with them for life. Today, we're going to explore what it means to be the one person an avoidant bonds with forever, the signs, the psychology, and the powerful reality behind it. To understand this bond, you first have to understand avoidant psychology. Avoidants aren't heartless. They're actually deeply sensitive, often more sensitive than they let on. But because of early experiences, they learn to protect themselves by shutting down emotions, pushing people away, and building walls. Relationships feel like a risk to them. Vulnerability feels dangerous. So they minimize closeness, they keep their distance, and they train themselves not to need anyone. That's why most of their relationships remain shallow or unstable. They never truly allow themselves to attach. But here's the paradox. While avoidants run from intimacy, they secretly crave it. They want to be seen, to be understood, and to feel safe in someone's arms. They just don't believe it's possible. So they continue the cycle of avoidance. Yet once in a while, they meet someone who bypasses all their defenses. Someone who doesn't chase them, doesn't try to control them, but simply accepts them in a way no one else has. This person awakens something inside the avoidant, a recognition that feels both terrifying and magnetic. This is the beginning of the lifelong bond. Now, why is it that avoidants may only form this kind of deep attachment once, or with only one person? Because for them, trust is the rarest currency. They don't give it easily, and once given, it becomes permanent. Even if the relationship ends, even if years pass, that one person remains etched into their emotional memory. Avoidants don't bond lightly. They bond deeply, quietly, and in ways that are almost impossible to undo. If you've been that person for an avoidant, you might already know it. No matter how much distance they create, they can never fully detach from you. One of the key signs you're the one person an avoidant has bonded with forever is that they allow themselves to be vulnerable around you. Avoidants usually hide their emotions, but if you've seen them open up, cry, or admit fears they never share with others, that's not casual. It's profound. Another sign is that they keep you in their life, even if at a distance. You might not hear from them often, but they never truly let go. They may reappear after years, checking in as if no time has passed. That's not indifference. It's proof of a bond they can't erase. For the avoidant, this lifelong bond is both a blessing and a curse. On one hand, it gives them a sense of connection they never thought possible. On the other hand, it terrifies them because it makes them dependent in ways they've spent their whole life trying to avoid. That's why many avoidants sabotage these connections. Not because they don't care, but because they care too much. The intensity overwhelms them. But even if they walk away, even if they pretend not to need you, deep inside they know the truth. You are their one anchor, their one irreplaceable bond. This bond also explains why avoidants often struggle to move on. While others may cycle through relationships and eventually detach, avoidants cling to the memory of the one person they let in. They may date others, they may even marry, but in the quiet corners of their mind, that one bond still exists. It's like a ghost they carry, not always visible, but always present. And if life ever brings you back together, you'll notice something strange. The connection reignites instantly. Time, distance, silence. None of it erases the imprint you left. But what does it take to become that one person an avoidant bonds with forever? It's not about being perfect, nor about chasing them endlessly. It's about embodying qualities that break down their defenses. Patience, emotional steadiness, a refusal to play games. Most importantly, it's about respecting their need for space without interpreting it as rejection. When avoidants feel they don't have to fight for autonomy, they finally relax. That's when they start to trust. And once that trust is established, it turns into a bond that outlasts almost everything. There's also a deeper truth here. Avoidants don't bond with the person who gives them the most intensity or passion. They bond with the person who gives them peace. Drama and chaos only reinforce their fear of closeness. But calmness, consistency, and quiet strength allow them to feel safe enough to connect. If you've ever felt an avoidant returning to you despite their walls, it's likely because you represented that peace they couldn't find anywhere else. Now let's address something important. Being the one person an avoidant bonds with forever doesn't mean the relationship will always be easy. In fact, it's often marked by push and pull, moments of closeness followed by withdrawal. You may feel confused, hurt, even rejected at times, but beneath that surface, the bond is unshakable. The avoidant may run, but they always circle back emotionally. They may not say it, but you'll notice it in their actions, in the way they can't fully let you go, in the way they still react to your presence, even years later. For the avoidant, this one bond becomes a life lesson. It shows them that intimacy is possible, that love is not as dangerous as they once believed, and for the person on the receiving end, it can feel like both a gift and a burden. A gift because you hold a place in their heart no one else will ever touch. A burden because avoidants rarely express it in the way you want them to. But if you can understand the depth beneath their silence, you'll realize you've impacted them more than they could ever put into words. Some people wonder, can an avoidant ever truly love for life? The answer is yes, but not in the obvious conventional sense. Their love may not look like constant affection or verbal reassurance. Instead, it shows up in quieter ways, in their loyalty, in the way they keep your memory alive, in the way they show up for you in critical moments, even if they've been absent for months. That's how avoidants love, not loudly, but deeply, in ways that often go unnoticed until you look closer. And here's something you need to remember. If you're the one person an avoidant bonds with forever, it's not about what you did for them. It's about who you are. You touched a part of them that no one else could reach. You represented safety in a world that felt threatening. And once they've experienced that, they can never unfeel it. Whether they admit it or not, you've become their emotional home, the place they'll always return to in their heart. So when an avoidant bonds with you for life, you may never hear them say the words out loud, but their actions will tell the story. They'll struggle to move on. They'll keep you in their orbit. They'll remember the small details about you long after others have forgotten. And even if they're silent, even if they disappear, you'll sense it, that invisible thread that ties them to you, no matter how far they run. That's the power of being the one person an avoidant bonds with forever. It's rare, it's unshakable, and it lasts a lifetime.